So my MO for today is to not talk to you like your children.
Yeah.
I realize that you're in high school, right?
Yep.
10th grade, raise your hand. Okay, that's the majority of the class. Cool. So today what I want to do is I want to lay out some things before you and give you the option to do with what I tell you, completely up to you. All right? So my name is Andrick Bugs, and
What's your name?
Andrick.
My name Paris.
What's that?
My name Paris.
Paris?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's awesome. Nice to meet you, Paris.
You too.
So I used to be a student here. I graduated back in May of 2012. I was in the video program here.
He's a newbie.
Miss Ella was my adopted mother. While I was in school, I bugged her often, got on her nerves often. But that came from me being very precocious about what I wanted to do with my life. Here's why. I'm originally from Memphis. I came to Knoxville back in July of 2007 as a result of my marriage at the time. My wife was the dean at Strayer University at the time. And when I came to Knoxville, I was a licensed master barber. Had never been to college. Matter of fact, I was a high school dropout, right? And of course, we have a saying amongst barbers that if you don't have anybody in your chair, then you're basically unemployed. Which means if you're in the city where you have no family, you don't know anybody, then that makes it rather difficult to pay bills, to keep a roof over your head, to eat, all of the basic necessities, right? So let me rewind back to 92 and what led to me dropping out of high school. So how many of you have ever heard of 8-Ball and MJG? 8-Ball and MJG?
No.
3-6 Mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. These are all guys back in the day when I was in high school, and I'm probably dating myself here, but these are all guys that I hung out with regularly. And that meant I had the same ambitions as they had musically. And so my plan was, I was gonna, write a bunch of songs and become this world-class rapper and make a lot of money and do my thing. Well, of course, needless to say, that didn't happen. So I dropped out of high school, and there's a saying that says, bad company corrupts, relationships. And so I was running with some guys, and long story short, we got into some trouble. I ended up having to, go to prison for 2.5 years for aggravated robbery, 6 counts of aggravated robbery. Joe Brown was my judge, by the way, before he went Hollywood.
So you was on TV?
Yeah. He was a circuit court, criminal court judge in Memphis, Tennessee before he went Hollywood, right? And so I did that, got out of jail. Before I went to jail, I had a son who was, at the time, he was only 6 months when I went to jail. When I got out, he was 3. I had gone to Tennessee Tech in Memphis because I had completely turned my life around. I wanted to try to create a completely different path for myself. And so I went to school. The day I was graduating, I had my son with me. And I was going to take him to graduation with me. And my child's mother at the time, she called me and told me, now at this time I was on parole, right? Which means if you're on parole, you can't do nothing. You can't even jaywalk, right? So I get a call from her, and she tells me, she says, if you don't bring him back home, I'm going to call the police and tell them you kidnapped him. Now, we both know that that's not what happened, right?
Yeah.
So, I knew she was serious, so I took him back home. 2 hours later, my phone's ringing, right? And I'm getting out of the shower, I answer the phone, and there's a paramedic on the phone. And she asked me, she said, are you the child's father, Scooter's father? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, you need to get here because he just got hit by a car and he's not going to make it. This was 2 hours after I just dropped him off, right? Now, so far I've told you that I dropped out of high school, I've gone to prison, I've lost a small child. By every standard, I pretty much should have quit and given up on life at this point, right? And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I need for you to understand that each of you, and the reason why I said that I'm going to talk to you like you're adults is because I know that you're dealing with real issues.
Yeah.
When you go back to your homes in the evenings, I know that you're dealing with real issues. So I want you to understand that I can identify with you in that respect. However, it's not the end. Just because you run into a problem here or there, just because you hit a pitfall, I like to tell people the road to success is not a straight path. It's a journey with layovers, with delays, with setbacks. That's what the road to success looks like. And so if I looked around, if I asked everybody in here who wants to be successful, everybody's hand in the room is going to go up because you do.
Yeah.
But the question then becomes, how bad do you want it? Right? So fast forward to when I moved to Knoxville. Me and my wife split up. I was what the government called couch homeless. I didn't have a pot to pee in or I wanted to throw it out of. Meaning I had to, go get on food stamps, and I didn't have anybody that I could, get in. I had a friend that I was going to church with that opened up his door to me. But when I realized that here I am, a 30-some-odd-year-old man, laying on somebody else's floor, and I don't have the ability to even pay for my basic necessities, I need to do something constructive with my life. That's when I decided, okay, the reason why I never went to college is because I sucked at math. The only thing that I was successful at in high school was PE and lunch. Just keeping it 100. I mean, that was the one thing that I enjoyed doing. I liked lunch and PE. Everything else, I sucked at math. I was all right at English. I was all right at science and other things, but overall, I just hated school. And so we're living in a day and age now where everywhere you go to look for a job, even if it's a degree in shoveling poop, they want you to have something to show that you can commit, that you can be dedicated, that you can be faithful to something. And so when I'm laying there on the floor and I'm looking at the roof, I'm thinking, man, where is my life? Where's my life going? Where is it going to take me? I said, well, okay, I need to, first of all, devise a plan. Write out a plan. What you going to do? So my plan was, first of all, I'm going to go get in school so I can try to learn something to keep up with what's going on. I've always been interested in video. Video has always been something that I've always been curious about. So me coming to Pellissippi to get in the video program was simply because of something that I was curious about all my life. And so it just so happens that Pellissippi was a 2-year institution. One of my mentors told me that if you're going to consider going to college at your age, start off with a 2-year institution to see if that's going to be beneficial for you. And then if you want to go on to another 4-year university, then you can. And so Pellissippi, offered a world-class video program that when I got in here, just like most students, I was met with some challenges. And remember what I told you, that the destination to success has layovers. And my layover was math. I sucked at math. And so I had to take all these prerequisites in order to get right into the meat of what I went to school for. But I knew that me having to go through that was small compared to me having to continue to beg, bum, and borrow and sleep on other people's floors just to try to survive. That meant more to me. So me sitting in class a couple of hours to try to figure out, Pavlov's, Pavlov's triangle or whatever it is, Pascal's triangle, was nothing. And it was better because I was doing something constructive with my life. And so there were several times where the thought crossed my mind, I should just quit, I should just give up. So my first semester, needless to say, my GPA, now in high school my GPA was a 0.2 because I never went to class. Dropped out and I never went to class. My first semester here at college, my GPA was a 3.8. My second semester was a 4.0. Then my second semester I was asked to be a part of the Phi Theta Kappa National Honor Society. And I maintained that throughout my education here. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, regardless of what challenges you may face now, The idea that I'm trying to put into your hearts, trying to put into your minds right now, that every decision that you make right here, right now, is going to determine whether it's good or bad, is going to determine what consequences you have later on in life. You can have one or two types of consequences. You can have good consequences, or you can have bad ones. So just think about every decision that you make from this day forward is going to have some type of impact on your life long term. For instance, the decision that I made to go run with some friends to get in some trouble, catch an aggravated robbery charge, is following me to this very day, and I'll be 40 in July. Had I made the decision to not go hang out with those guys, if I had made the decision to stay in school and go to college, then there's no telling where I'd be in life right now. But I'm not upset about where I am in life right now, because I believe that had I not gone through what I went through, then it wouldn't have brought me to where I am now, and I would have been able to come here and talk to you today. Right? So I'm gonna say this. A dream, there's a saying that says a dream without a plan is only a wish. But I'm going to alter that a little bit. A dream without discipline and a dream without ambition and hope is only a nap. I don't care what kind of dreams you have. If you don't have a plan in place to carry that out, then you're only taking a nap. And the last thing that you want to be, the last thing that you want to do is be a 30-year-old woman or man still asking, what am I going to do with my life? So while I was in school, the company that I now work for, I worked in the call center, which is the only job that I could really get because of my record and because of my professional track record. Had never had anything else, right? So I'm working in the call center while I'm going to school, full time, by the way. Full time is what, like 12 hours?
40.
40?
Oh, you mean classes?
Yeah.
12 hours.
12 hours. So I'm taking 12-hour classes, and I'm working 40 plus hours a week. And doing both of them simultaneously. Oftentimes I'd be at work, in between phone calls, doing homework. And so one of the gifts that I have is being able to see how something can be better. And I know that the company that I work for, we make pet products, which is why it's called Pet Safe. We make pet products. We make toys, treats, invisible fence, everything that a pet owner could possibly need to make their pet's life better. We make those products. And we do a ton of videos, but we're paying other companies around town to do them, and they're really not all that. So I saw that and I said, well, hey, I'm in school, think I kind of got a knack for video. Why don't you guys throw me a couple of projects and let's see what happens? And so my boss, who's my boss now at the time, she was like, sure, no problem. So they threw me one project, then that turned into two. Hadn't been at the company a year yet. This was back in May of 2011. They offered me a full-time salary job in August, and I wrote my own salary. Now tell me how that happens. How does that happen? I wrote my own job description, wrote my own salary, making more than I've ever made in my entire life. Right? Right. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. And I take no credit. No credit. So, any questions?
Are you happy with yourself now?
Oh, I'm very happy with myself. I have 2 beautiful children. I'm remarried. My life is very different from what it was. Do I have regrets? Yes. I made mistakes, I'm not proud of. But at the same time, I'm doing something with my life that's making the lives of other people better. And then I'm here talking to you guys, hoping that something that I've said today you'll take away with you, and I mean you'll use it, later on. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it will not be easy. So here's the thing: even if you decide not to go to school for video, right? Even if you decide to go to school for something else, just do it as if your life depends on it. That's what I did. And none of y'all have the history that I have yet. So, I wish I had somebody to come and talk to me the way I'm talking to you. Because maybe at that point, it would have made a difference. So often when people come to talk to y'all, they're talking to y'all like this. Like, oh, you're just so cute. Awesome. No, because I know what you're going home to. Some of you, don't know what it's like to have a father in the house. I didn't. Some of you, some of you may not have a mother in the house. Some of you may be staying with your grandmother or your relatives. You don't know what it's like to have your parents. That's a very real situation. But I'm here to tell you today that that's not the end of the road. Does that make sense? And if you got ambitions to play sports, you play ball?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do whatever, but have a plan A, a plan B, and if necessary, have a plan C. Because my brother, who his greatest ambition was to be Frank Lucas. We know who Frank Lucas is, right?
Yeah.
Do we? From American Gangster, the movie Denzel. That was his ambition, and he could play ball, 6'3", and could play something terrible. But he had other ambitions. His primary goal was to get money. And you can't allow getting money to be your primary focus. Because if you find something that you love doing, the money will come. Because money don't say anything to a fool but goodbye. Yes, sir.
So what happened to your brother?
Well, odd you ask, because a couple of months ago, he was facing 10 years in prison for selling drugs. And you would think that by him living in the house with somebody that had already gone down that path, he was like, I don't want no parts of that. But again, his ambitions are in the wrong place. But, they let him off with a warning and told him that if he came back again, that they was going to double it up on him. And so hopefully this will be the motivation for him to keep a job and prayerfully do something positive with his life. But we have, me and my brother both, we came from I like to say that, my father was a woman. Because my mother literally had to be the nurturer and the hand of discipline. All under the same roof. And so, according to, statistics, we're not supposed to make it. We're not supposed to, according to statistics, you're not supposed to make it. Yes, ma'am.
Back to your brother, when y'all was little, was y'all split up a lot, or was y'all together?
No, we were together the majority of our childhood. I'm 10 years older than he is, so he just turned 30 this year. And see, that's what I'm saying. That's the perfect example. Yes, ma'am.
What you mean we're not supposed to be? Like, what do you mean we're not supposed to be?
Well, when you come from a dysfunctional home or a dysfunctional situation, meaning if you don't have both parents in the home, statistics say that you're going to either end up in jail or dead before you turn 25. And I'm here to tell you that, but that's not. Because those were the same stats back when I was coming up. And yeah, I went to jail, but I ain't dead. And I figured as long as you ain't dead, you got an opportunity. That's how I see it. So, are there going to be challenges? Absolutely. Is it going to be hard? Absolutely. To my girls in here, I just had a daughter back in December. Her name is Marley.
That's cute.
And I have a completely different outlook on life since I had her. Right? Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
I have a completely different look on life in terms of how I used to treat women, of course in terms of how I view women. And to my girls in here, I want to say something to y'all. And guys, you're more than welcome to bite off this sandwich, but this is for the girls. All right? For the girls in here, you have to understand your worth. You have to understand your value. You can't let someone else come along and tell you what you're not worth by how they treat you.
Is this coming from a man?
This is coming from a man who knows, who's been there, who's done that twice, 3 times a lady. So, you know, the biggest challenge that you're going to have as ladies is these little naughty-head boys that want to try to get your attention and get your affection. You know, and to that, I've got a friend who just, it's so funny, Ms. Ella, because I just got a phone call this morning from a friend of mine, and we all grew up together. His daughter just graduated from high school, just started college, just turned 19, and now she's pregnant. Now, children are a life, they are a blessing, but if your life is not where it should be, it is an interruption. And from now, in her mind, she's got to put everything on hold at this point to try to focus on that child. And so I want to encourage both my guys and my girls, get your life together before you start trying to bring somebody else into your life. You got plenty of time. Biggest lies I've ever heard was, you got your whole life ahead of you. It's partly true, but the other half to that is, the other question to that is, yeah, you got your whole life ahead of you, but what you going to do with it? You got your whole life ahead of you, what are you going to do with it? That's all I have.